What's up, guys? It's Ricky, and on this particular episode, I wanted to talk about a death prophecy response from Big Zulu. So, Big Zulu is a South African musician who went viral with a particular song that he did called Imande Ningi, like a lot of money. That was the name of the song. And the song was everywhere, you couldn't duck it. There was challenges online, but I felt like this challenge was kind of like very much like positive vibes, you know, growing yourself to a point where you're either an employer, a boss, or somebody that is so important, you know. It made everybody feel pretty much positive about themselves.
I have to pray for a musician. I saw him inside the car, and I saw blood inside the car. I'm not the one that killed. His name is Big Zulu. I've been praying for him for extension, because this thing is supposed to happen March next month, March, April. I'm still praying. I'm the one praying for Sumizi now. Well, now this other man who is very soon, his name is Big Zulu.
Just based on the headline, there are things that are beyond his power. He's pretty much aware of that. Now, whatever he believes in his personal space or in his private life, that's that. But in this article, they go on to kind of remind about the story of Kenan, aka, where they were talking about how he was given a death prophecy, and a lot of people were kind of focused on, yeah, but he was given a death prophecy, it came to pass. But it was more on, he said, I'm not in your church, I don't want to hear your death prophecies. I'm not given to a spirit of fear, but a spirit of a sound mind. And you know, recently Evan noted that the guys who actually were involved in the whole case, or people that are accused to have been the people that did it to Kenan, have been arrested. And it kind of reminded me of an episode that I did with Pastor Kenneth. I'm going to post it out today, so do check it out in the pinned comment. If it's not there now, it will be there later on in the evening. And so I'll post that episode today. And so I thought this was quite an interesting one when he was saying that there are things that are beyond my power. And I think that's the most important part of this particular discussion. But I wanted to pair it along with something else, with this idea that they state here as unsolicited, I think that's how they put it, unsolicited prophecies. These prophecies that people are not wanting to hear. You know, actually, that's exactly the wording that they use in this article. They use the term unsolicited prophecies, where I'm not a part of your church. There are people that want to hear your prophecies. They are over there at your church. Recently, you'll know, if you haven't seen, in Israel, there are certain individuals, okay? It's certain people. It's not like the whole government is looking for this. But there are certain people who are pushing to have evangelism or preaching publicly or even on social media illegal. Yeah, it's a pretty much wild subject if you haven't seen this particular story. And I wanted to bring it up to this particular in this particular episode because I thought it was quite an interesting one, that in Israel there are these guys who are out there pushing to have, and it's not their first time doing so. They've done it, as I understand now, that they've done it countless times. They have done it before, and they are part of the cabinet, and they are kind of pushing for these laws to be pushed to make evangelizing to another person or talking to another person about faith illegal, which could earn you jail time. And I don't know if it will earn you a criminal record or anything, but I do know that they are actually going towards a point of it being a fine, there being a fine, and also being illegal. And I thought there is nothing more antichrist than that. To restrict conversations about religion and belief in the public space, then what is the length of that? Well, how far can I not speak to another person about faith? And how far can I speak to another person about faith? It brings that subject in. You know, the idea of unsolicited prophecies, it goes to that. But I want you to note how they don't relate. Okay, someone might think because I'm against people just going out there handing out death prophecies. Why personally, I'm all for people just preach the gospel. The message is the center of what we are sent out here for. And I've said that before, I'll keep saying that now. The thing is, right now, death prophecies have become part of the church. Because these people, whom we don't know if they serve Jesus or if they serve the Lord, these people have made it the norm within the church to have death prophecies normalized. The center of the church is the gospel. The gospel, bringing people to salvation. But these people have made this thing of trying to predict people's passing and so forth and stuff like that. When we're going to die, it's not the most important thing, okay? Even Jesus died, resurrected. And so we know all flesh goes to the grave. But they've made an entire ministry about it. But notice how this particular subject of prophecies fit into that. And they can literally just use this particular subject into that. It's because unlike evangelizing about belief or speaking about beliefs, which can be an average everyday conversation. As a matter of fact, I find it more difficult to talk about any other thing outside of faith that finds solid ground for a future. Maybe you can talk about investment, you can talk about raising kids, you can talk about education and the future of that and the future of politics and stuff like that. These feel like they have a future aspect to them. But death, it's the end. So there isn't much of a conversation there. We all know we're going there. And so for those people that don't get why I personally am not a person who's all for, go out there, tell people that they're going to die. We are all going to die. The most important thing is, where are we when we die? What do we believe when we die? How we die is not even the most important. Our Lord Jesus Christ died one of the most painful deaths, shameful. It had shame written all over it. It says shame, cursed is the man that dies upon a thing. So it's very much clear that death, it's like the final, particularly for men. It is appointed for men to live once, but after that it is the judgment. And so death doesn't have much of a conversation. But why has it become a ministry? It's quite an interesting one. But my thought line around this particular subject was, we have more of a conversation when we talk about salvation. Bear in mind, I'm not saying people shouldn't be warned. People should be warned. I remember very recently, we were talking about, what's her name, Black China's mother coming out and saying that she's devilish and she will sacrifice her to the Illuminati and whatnot. Turns out, Black China goes on and gets saved. And she is now in the process of removing her evil tattoos that she had gotten, and she was planning on going to reverse all the other surgeries and all these funny things that she had done to her body to appeal to Hollywood. And so while you are there and you warn people, and while you are there and you speak about certain things, it might cause people to be saved. It might bring people to salvation. But if death is the subject, it ends there. There's nothing else you can say. Yeah, you're gonna die. That's it. Yes, we can talk about, there is the whole subject of hell, but once the person is dead, there is nothing you can do about it. When they are here, there is more of a conversation about salvation. That's why that's my focus. And so Big Zulu's entire kujaz here was, you know what? I ain't asked you for that. You can keep that to yourself. Of course, I don't think he's coming at it with things. He's like, you know what? I can't control, and things that I have no control over, leave that to God. You can keep us in your prayers, he says. Right? But there is more of a conversation talking about salvation. I think that's the most important part. And the response kind of shows you of how in the future these prophecies can dictate what Christianity is about. Because it's this thing that's meant to cripple a person's life. I mean, like being told that you're going to die. What you want me to do with that? Okay, personally, you say that, I'm going to laugh it off. and keep it moving. I'm pretty much not thinking about you for the next 2 seconds. Yeah, like the next 2 seconds, if I give you the next two seconds, you got too much of my time. I don't have time for that. Okay? I don't have time for that. I am here working for the kingdom in order to bring more people to the knowledge of the gospel and the empowering aspect of the relationship that we have with God and how powerful that relationship. That's my focus. That's my everyday. That's my every single moment. So these death prophecies can lead to what becomes or defined as Christianity. And before you know it, it gives a solid mindset for those Israelis that are trying to put this as a law and say, no more talking to people about faith, even online. Bear in mind, it's not just, they're not trying to restrict speech, particularly about evangelizing only in person. They're trying to do it even online, which is kind of very strange, which means people can be banned from going to Israel on the basis of their messages that they've sent out online. And so, but the death prophecies kind of show you what in Christianity can get us on that naughty list, to be noted as, you know what, y'all are preaching a message of this kind, and this entire group, y'all should stop. That can lead us into that space where we have such type of rules or such types of laws, which might land people in jail. Now, I know many people just probably don't care about evangelism in Israel, but there are people that are extremely passionate about doing that. They just do that. They literally move their entire family growth and the entire thing. They move to Israel just so for the sole purpose to minister to Jews. You know, you might not care and keep it up, but then paint Christianity a certain way, and it allows people who are radicals like this type of individuals to find ideas that they can put up to say, this is why we should ban it. Yeah, tell me what you think. It's the Reality Show, daily Christian commentary video. So it was a bit of an update episode with 2 episodes on the wrong side. Other episodes down today, down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.